Okay, so my story is about how I found my dog. She's actually a family dog, but since my brother and I no longer live with my mom, then I guess she's kind of my mom's dog. But so growing up, I have always had dogs in my house, and there's seriously never been a day where there wasn't a dog. And unfortunately, 5 years ago, we lost both of my dogs in the same year. One was from a sudden seizure. We were taking a walk, and she had a seizure and just never came out of it. And then the other one was from a tumor that we just found too late. It had ruptured, and unfortunately, he died overnight after his surgery. Um, so then a week had passed, and there was no dog in my house for a week, and it was extremely quiet, and I just was not having it. And even though my mom was very adamant about not getting another dog because she wasn't ready, I decided to go on Pet Finder and try to find another dog. And then I did find this dog that was actually said to be a mix of the two that had just died. So I got kind of excited, and she was really cute. They said she was about a year old, and I didn't get my hopes up though, because I knew that my mom was very not into the idea of getting a dog. So I went downstairs though, and I just casually was like, "So Mom, I found this dog, and she's a mix of what our other two were." And my mom stopped what she was doing and just looked at me and said, "Are you serious?" And so I pulled up the webpage. It was on Pet Finder, so we pulled up the webpage, and I showed her the picture, and she like immediately fell in love with this dog, especially like her eyes. Like she's got these big brown eyes. So we called the shelter to see if she was still available, and she was, but there was another family that was interested in her. So we kind of had to hurry. And then we found out that she was actually 7 hours away in Indiana. Well, 4 hours there, like 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back. So we really had to hurry. So we called my brother to let him know that we really wanted to get this dog, and of course he wanted to come along with us. And in the morning, it was like still only 10 in the morning, and we all got into the car and headed over. And on the way there, we're trying to think of names, and of course we can't decide on anything. Everybody wants something different. And when we arrived at the shelter, we saw her, and her name at the time was Priscilla. And we knew we didn't want to have that name. We thought she didn't look like a Priscilla. So we found out a little bit of her story when we got there. She was a stray. Someone had actually taken her to the middle of nowhere and just dumped her. And as a result, she's actually, it took her a very long time to be okay with being in a car, because she was always very scared of being left behind somewhere. So on top of that, the shelter that found her was going to euthanize her if nobody came to get her in 3 days. Thankfully though, the shelter we got her from rescued her from there, and they are a no-kill shelter. So we took her home, and it was a really difficult time getting her in the car though, because like I said, she was terrified of being in the car. But we got her in the car, and we noticed that she was extremely skinny, but we thought that would be our only problem. A dog her size is supposed to be about 60, 65 pounds. She was about 30. So she was very thin. And she definitely hadn't had a haircut in a very long time. She was very hairy. And so 3 hours later, we got home, and we realized she had several other problems on top of that. She had almost every infection you could think of. She had eye infections, ear infections, bladder infections, and she also had parasites in her intestines. and she was just sick all the time. And she was also very afraid of people. She wasn't mean, she was just very scared of them. So she pretty much hid in a corner in our basement for a couple weeks. And like pretty much for the first few months, every night my mom and I would have to wake up frequently because she would have had an accident in the house, or she would have thrown up or she had really bad diarrhea as well. So for the first few weeks we had to stay up a lot of times with her. We woke up frequently to have to clean up after her. And on top of that, she was on this very expensive special diet of meat and rice, which lasted for quite a while, but it thankfully fattened her up pretty quickly. And then the vet became really good friends with us because we were there so many times that she just knew us very well after a while. And also, for a few days, we still could not think of a name, so for a couple days we were calling her Dog. And that was it. But finally we agreed on Savannah. We really like that name. And then she eventually started getting used to us a little bit more, and she started socializing with us, and we realized she's actually a very affectionate dog, and she loves to cuddle. But there was still the phobia of the cars, however, persisted for quite a while. She loves other dogs, which we discovered quickly after she started getting better. So we signed up for a dog park pass by our house. And after a while, she started liking the car because she associated it with the dog park. But if we go to the dog park, she always makes sure she knows where we are because she's terrified that we will leave her, even though we will not leave her there. But she's getting a little bit braver there, though, as well. Like I said, she loves to cuddle. If we're sitting on the couch, even though she's a big dog, we found out she's actually a greyhound mix, not a mix of the other two I had. So she's a big dog, but she will sit on your lap because she thinks that she's the right size for that. And if you don't let her, she'll whine at you or she'll kick you with her feet, with her paws. But yeah, that's the story of how I found my dog. And I miss her because, like I said, my brother and I moved out, so she's kind of my mom's dog now. But yeah.
Yeah.